everyone, welcome back to another episode of Gold Prospecting and Home. This is episode number 70, and today I actually have a real vintage pay dirt. Unlike the last episode, I got this stuff here on eBay thinking that it was like an actual vintage pay dirt, and then I did some more research on it and found out that you could buy it on like Amazon, you can get it at Walmart and stuff. We opened it up and we were really disappointed, but I think this one here will probably also be disappointed once we open it up. But I mean, this is the real deal. As you can see here, I found other pictures of this stuff, only like 2 or 3 other pictures. It's really hard to find. The staples and everything were rusty. As you can see, it is a little bit warped. The plastic has warped over the years, and you guys can pause it there if you want to read that. Down here at the bottom, it does say 1971, 1972, Hart and Company Incorporated, Seattle, Washington. It has some instructions on here explaining how to pan for gold. So we already know how to do that. I just wanted to get this on camera really good because this is a real vintage thing. I found it on eBay. Let me show you guys what I paid for it and everything. So here's the listing that I used here. This is the original listing. I paid $33 for it. I actually bid $50 on it because I really wanted it. And also the shipping was $8.45. Came from New Jersey, but this is the real thing. Here's a few more pictures of it. And it just says in the description, Alaskan souvenir gold pay dirt, pan unsearched. Gold dirt bag, 1972 sealed, real nice vintage souvenir. So yeah, this really is, again, a real vintage pay dirt. I'm really excited for this. Why don't we take this down to the panning station, we'll chop it open, and we'll take a look at it. All right, here it is, the pay dirt gold panning kit from 1971 or 1972. Now, since this thing is about 50 years old, normally I don't read everything and go over it 100%, but for archival reasons, historical reasons, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So these things were most likely sold in Alaskan gold mining towns back in the early 70s. It says, strike it rich, here's the pan, here's the gold bearing sand, and the directions are on the back. Souvenir of the Alaskan gold fields. Sand guaranteed to contain tiny gold nuggets. You can see here that it's been well preserved, probably kept in a very good environment, no humidity. There's no rust on the pan, there's no rust on the staples. I've seen other pictures of this exact same thing, and the pan was completely rusted. Half of the staples were, falling out and rusty. I mean, these staples don't even have rust on them. The plastic has warped a little, which caused the package to kind of fold in on itself a little bit, but I mean, that's expected. So I read over the directions, and they're actually not that great. They're kind of bad. This tells you to place the gold-bearing sand in the gold pan, tilt under flowing water. A stream is ideal. A slow-draining kitchen sink will also do, allowing sediment to be carried away. Now, you don't want to do that. You want to pan into another pan or something where you can pan it twice to make sure you didn't lose anything. If you pan this directly into a stream, there's a chance that it'll just go away and you'll lose your gold. So I wouldn't do that. Also, you want to use some surfactant. I like to use Jet Dry, but really any kind of soap will work, hand soap, dish soap, whatever. That breaks the surface tension of the water, so the really small gold won't float away. Second step, lift the pan from the water and tilt slightly to the left. Shake pan so that the sand forms a V between the bottom and sides of the pan, and most but not all of the water spills out. Step 3 says, still shaking the pan, tilt it towards you and slowly rotate it counterclockwise. Scrape out larger and lighter sand grains that drift to the lower left, and they are merely waste. Step 4, now comes the trick. Add more water, slowly swirl the water in a circular clockwise direction. At the same time, turn the pan between your 2 hands counterclockwise, gently sloshing out more of the waste sand than water. What's left will be a measure of black sand and tiny nuggets of gold. Repeat step 4. So I mean, step 4 is pretty confusing. I like to do it just the way I do it. I can't even follow that. It does mention the beware of fool's gold, which is pyrite. It looks like gold. I wanted to read that entire thing just for documentation purposes. This is not something you can buy at any store anymore. Maybe eBay, maybe a yard sale if you get real lucky. And I kind of feel bad opening this up, but at the same time, not really. I mean, I can easily put this on my shelf and show it as a display, but at the same time, I can open it up for thousands of people, and then we'll all know what's actually in it. So I think it's going to be better thing for me to go ahead and open this thing up. So let's go ahead and do that. Try to keep the packaging intact as best as possible. It's been sitting there a long time. Right, a little bag of pay dirt. I don't see any visible gold in it. It looks like a lot of black sand in there. This might actually be pretty challenging. Might have to take the magnet to it. And our little gold pen. I don't think we're gonna try using this. This is a pretty cool little souvenir though, for sure. All right, here's our vintage pay dirt. Let's take a look at it in a pan. That's pretty average. All right, let's cut it open here. Carefully. My razor blade is kind of dull. All right. So I actually want to weigh this stuff up. I have the little pan here. I'm going to put that on there. We'll zero it out again. I know it's hard to see, but it does say 0.00 right now. We'll pour all of our pay dirt in. Just curious to see what this stuff actually weighs before we get into panning it. 26.37 grams, or just under an ounce. So like I said, looks like a lot of black sand in there. I don't see any big pieces except for maybe that little chunk there. And that's actually just solidified mud. You could probably break that apart in our fingers. We're not going to classify this or anything. I don't see any visible gold. There's another rock. Little rock right there. I do not see any gold, so we're not going to expect any, big nuggets or anything, which is fine. All right, so I think there's a lot of black sand in here, which is magnetic. So I'm going to take my neodymium magnet in my silver dollar tube here, and I just have it attached to like a nut driver. We're just going to run this over and see if we can pick up all the magnetic stuff to make it easier for the panning process. All right, here we have our magnetic and non-magnetic stuff separated. Here's a big rock here. I'm just gonna throw that in this side. And let's go ahead and start panning this stuff down. I'm actually gonna pan the magnetic stuff. There's most likely no gold in here because we did use the magnet dry. Now, if you use the magnet when this stuff is wet, you're gonna pick up little pieces of gold. So make sure whenever you use the magnet to remove the magnetite, your pay dirt is completely dry. I should mention also that this is a whole bunch of black sand. For this small amount of pay dirt, we only got under an ounce here of pay dirt, and we have, well, let's weigh it up. Yeah, we've got 6.5 grams of black sand. So that really would have been a pretty difficult pay dirt to pan out if we wouldn't have removed that black sand. This black sand gives a lot of trouble. It's real heavy, so it moves along with the gold. All right, so we got to pan this stuff out. Let's bring over Crusty Rusty here. We'll add some water and some jet dry. The jet dry is that surfactant I was talking about to break the surface tension of the water. All right, here we go. This stuff has been waiting 50 years to be panned out. Wow. It's so dry, it's forming like little pay dirt bubbles on top. Not very dirty, a little bit of sediment coming off of it. Looks like pretty clean pay dirt. And really the trick to panning is just stratify, which is what I'm doing right now. Make sure you get all the pay dirt moving 100% under the water. Tilt it forward a bit and wash off the top. All the gold's going to be trapped at the bottom. And these little riffles here help prevent the gold from coming out. We're getting pretty close to the end here. And there's our first little piece of gold. Right there. Just a little flake. I think it was gold. Maybe not. The thing is floating around. That isn't gold. It's just a light rock, maybe a piece of quartz. We have a good amount of black sand. That's probably the hematite, which is not magnetic. Right here you can see our little bit of gold. Right where it's supposed to be. All right, I can actually stop panning into Crusty Rusty at this point. We'll just get a little bit of water into the pan. And we'll start spinning it back, and that'll reveal the gold. Yeah, kind of what I expected. A few little pieces of gold. Now, I don't know what this thing sold for at the souvenir shop or whatever, but, you know, I think, you know, just for the pan itself and the cool packaging, I mean, I wouldn't mind spending 10, 15 bucks for something like that. I mean, we only got a few cents worth of gold, but it's a good practice tool. We'll go ahead and weigh up the gold just to see what it's worth. I'm going to guess maybe about 10 cents worth of gold. It's really a small amount. So we'll go ahead and dry this up. We'll take it up, we'll weigh it up, and we'll get a value on it. You know, I forgot to pan out the magnetic stuff. Wow, look at those floating pay dirt bubbles. That's pretty interesting. I've never seen them like that before. And this stuff is so dry, it's like dust. Check that out. Stuff is like dust, it's so dry. And I'm keeping my eyes on here as it's coming down, looking for little bits of gold. Yeah, I don't see any gold. Okay. All right, let's go weigh up that gold. So a lot of people want to know actually how I dry the gold out. So what I do is first I clean it all up by swirling it back and getting just the gold in there. Then I tilt it back and get all the water into a puddle in one side. Take a paper towel and just soak that up. Soak up as much water with the paper towel as I can. And I have a heat gun that I mean, this thing gets real hot, as you can see. It's evaporating all that water quickly. I don't always use this. Sometimes I'll just let it sit until it dries naturally, but this works too. You don't want to leave the heat gun in one spot or it will melt your plastic. There you go, we have some dry gold right there.
All right, well that was really cool. I know I wasn't expecting to find a lot of gold or anything like that, but I got this really cool little souvenir I got. You know, I put everything back together. I'm gonna keep that. And yeah, I know there's not a lot of gold, but let's check out the value anyway. So we've got, yeah, well, maybe you noticed, I missed a little tiny piece of gold there. So we've got 0.00, I'm gonna call it 007, even though it was 006 because of that little flake I missed. We'll call it 24 karat gold because you can resell placer gold for 24 karat value. And there we go, 37 cents. You know, I wasn't expecting a lot. However, I mean, this thing is really cool. If anything, it'd be a really cool, you know, souvenir, I think. You can put it on your shelf. That's exactly what I'm going to do with this. If you guys have ever seen this before, or what I'd really like to know is where they used to sell it. If you've ever seen it back in the 70s, or you have any idea where it was originally sold, let me know down in the comments. Or you can let me know on social media. I do have Instagram, Facebook, geocaching, and Patreon. Big shout out to my Patreon supporters. Speaking of Patreon, I do have a brand new major credit Patreon supporter, Mr. Patrick Schnar. Thanks so much, man. It's much appreciated, and you'll have your name in the credits at the end of every video as long as you're a current supporter. And that's all I got for today. If you guys enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so. I'm almost at 100,000 subscribers, and I have a big surprise coming up. I already ordered it. It's actually in the mail. It should be here today, but that's going to be my video for my 100,000 subscriber video, so make sure you subscribe to check that one out. Definitely my most expensive pay dirt to date, and that's all I got for today. Thanks for watching.